Back on the show, you know who he is. It's TJ Laramie, who's going to be fighting for the vacant TKO featherweight title coming up here December 9th at TKO 41 Champions. He's going to be taking on Charles Jourdain. TJ, what's going on? How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's good to talk to you again. I feel like it's been a while, but it hasn't been that long, actually. And let's talk about this opportunity here to fight for the title. How happy were you not just to fight, Jourdain, but to also fight for this championship?
Fighting for the belt means a lot to me, but at the end of the day, the belt itself, it's only like a sentimental value kind of thing, the win means more than anything. So it doesn't really matter who I'm fighting, or what it's for, it's just, as long as I get that win,
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Now, did you feel like this title shot was coming? Because it's based off a point system, right? Is that how it sort of worked as to why you got the title shot?
Yeah. So it's based on a point system. But in my particular situation, there was a point where they were considering bringing Hatsu Hioki in.
Oh, interesting.
For the belt, because he never officially lost his TKO featherweight title, right? So they're gonna have him challenge for the belt. And there was also another circumstance too, where if Alex Morgan would have won his last fight, he would have had more points than me, and he would have fought. But he lost his last fight, so it all worked out in favor, I said I was going to be the TKO champ in 2017. It's working out that way right now.
Yeah, now you just got to buy a lottery ticket. Maybe you can win some money, too. All your predictions seem to be happening. But let's talk about your last fight, man. Really impressive win over Jimmy Spicuzza at World Series of Fighting veteran at TKO 39. How happy were you with your performance in that fight, especially getting another finish?
Yeah, it was great, so all my wins have come by a finish at this point in my career, which is pretty awesome. It was good to take down a vet like that, especially someone who's never been submitted against a lot of high-level guys. So that was the first time he's ever lost by submission. And I felt like I fought a pretty flawless fight. There was a couple little errors here and there, but everybody has those. And it was just awesome, going in there and I told myself I'm going to go in there and have fun and just fight my fight, And that's exactly what I did. I took my time, even their first round was a little bit slow, but I still won that round. Right at the last 10 seconds of that round, I hurt him to the body, and I just paced myself and took my time. Even if I'm only throwing a couple punches a minute, as long as those punches are landing and I'm not getting hit, I know I'm winning, and I know I'm pacing myself, and I'm eventually, breaking these people down slowly is a good game of mine to play. I have great cardio, and my fight IQ is pretty high, so. It's a good strategy I like to bring into fights now instead of rushing things, because when I rush things, I tend to get clipped, or I tend to take damage I don't need to take.
Yeah, no, that's good. You've kind of evolved your game a bit and kind of figuring out what works for you. And that fight was in June, and here we are. This fight's going to be in December. I know you've been doing a lot of cross-training. I actually talked to a bunch of guys over at Michigan Top Team, and they tell me you've been working with them too. So is that pretty much what it's been just in the meantime, is just trying to get as much training, getting different looks as much as you can?
Yeah, Michigan Top Team's been a huge staple when it comes to fight camp mode. I go over there at least twice a week, or try to get there at least twice a week. And it's a great push from the guys over there. And sparring with guys like Cruickshank too, coming up for this fight, it's a super good stylistic comparison compared to Jourdain. And when you look at Cruickshank, he's a way better wrestler. So if I can control Cruickshank with some wrestling, or if I can get a good position on him, then getting it on Jourdain is going to be cakewalk, So it's just it's like training with these high level guys. You got Cody Stamann too, who's top 15 now in the UFC. I was training up in London a little bit a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't have asked for a better training camp.
That's excellent. How did that get set up with you going down to Michigan Top Team?
Honestly, I just messaged Cody Stamann one time. I'm like, is it okay if I come and train? And he's just like, yeah, man, come out. And then I came out, and I was getting great work, and honestly, it was they do a great MMA program there. So and the best part, honestly, my favorite part about MTT is the team atmosphere. They do a great job of incorporating everybody and making sure everybody's getting the work they need. I got a fight coming up, and these guys don't even really. This is for my last fight. They didn't really even know me that well, but they were making sure I was getting the good rounds in there, making sure I was getting the quality training in and stuff like that. They're looking out for me, and these guys don't even really know me, So that's when I knew. I was like, wow, this place this is a great place. I can learn. I can be better here. So incorporating that into my training has really helped.
Is it just you going down, or is your brother going down and Kyle Preplik going down as well, or is it just you that heads down there?
It's just me.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I mean, that's great. You're kind of getting those different looks and everything. And let's talk about this fight. You're taking on Charles Jourdain. He's got the undefeated record. This seemed like a matchup that was inevitable, that it was going to happen. I'm sure you've had your eye on him for a while. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
Yeah, man, we've been probably like looking at each other for a while because like we fought on every TKO card, like every single card he's fought on, I fought on. So we've been on every single card, and stylistically, I think it's a great matchup for me. Honestly, I have enough stand up, you know what I mean, to level with him. I've great training partners, great southpaw training partners with Kyle, with Cruickshank. I got like great team behind me for this fight, and I just feel like his biggest weakness is my biggest strength. I don't have too many big gaping holes in my game. I don't have any. I feel like there's not a single part of my game where somebody can completely take advantage of, you know. And but for him, I feel like there's a big spot in his game where he needs some work, and I feel like it's pretty obvious that his grappling needs some work, especially when it comes to MMA. And another thing I'm going to bring into this fight that he hasn't really seen yet before is some size and some strength and more of a wrestling base that he hasn't seen from any fighter he's fought so far. He's been taken down by people who aren't wrestlers, you know what I mean? So it really opens up my eyes. So it's like, wow, what could I do on the ground against him, you know? I feel like there's just there's huge areas, you know, like there's one fight where a very lesser opponent was able to pass his guard, but when TJ Laramie passes your guard, it's a different game, it's a different world, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm excited in that point to really test him in that area to see maybe he's been working on that, but he's got a lot of years of jiu-jitsu to catch up on if he wants to be able to hang with me, you know. So it's like I'm excited, very excited to expose that part of his game, and even when it comes to the feet, you know, I'm not worried, you know. This whole aura of him being so great and so fancy and all that, I think it's just it's whatever, you know. I can tell he's a little nervous for this fight because even at the press conference, he was playing out a character a bit. Like when he was answering his questions, he was super humble, super whatever. And then when it came to the stare down, he's taking off his shirt and acting like an idiot. And it's like when people play out a character like that, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to be something they're not. It usually shows nervous, or like when you play out a character, it's just like it shows, you know what I mean? You're uncomfortable with the situation. You feel like you have to act out to like get attention and stuff like that. But for me, it's like I've been acting the same way my whole career. I haven't changed a bit. So, and I've been in big fights before. I fought way better guys than this guy. You know, Alex Morgan's a better fighter. Maxime Dubois is a better southpaw, more well-developed southpaw. Vince Murdoch's a better fighter. You know what I mean? So it's like I've been in these big fights, and Jourdain hasn't really had a great test yet. Will Romero's a good test, but if you honestly look at what he fought once in 3 years before he fought Jourdain, and it was a decision win against a 5-10 guy or something like that. But can't look too much in depth with it. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's a different level of opponent he's fighting this fight.
How have you had to change much in your training with the fact this is going to be a 5-round fight for a title fight?
Oh, I've been making sure my sparring rounds are at least 5 or 6 rounds at least, and I'm making sure there's a fresh guy every round. And like cardio will never be an issue when it comes to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm always going to make sure that they break before I do. It's like there's one thing you can control. There's two things you can kind of control is kind of your weight and your cardio, and those are two things that I feel like I have under control right now. Great. Like starting this camp 12 weeks out was the best thing I've ever done. Usually I do like between 6 and 8. So like I've almost doubled my training camp this time around. So I'm excited to really show that off.
December 9th, how do you see this fight ending?
Honestly, I feel like it's going to be a submission within the first few rounds. Within the first few rounds, I don't even think we're going to make it to the championship rounds. But if it does, just know my cardio is there to push at that pace. You know, I'm ready to grind out this fight if I have to.
Now, if you win the title and you go out there and you're healthy and everything like that, what's next? Are you going to fight Hatsu Huyoki? Is that what they're trying to do now?
I don't think they're going to bring him in anymore. I'm not sure. So I think they're just going to go by the rankings after this fight. So I believe Alex Morgan has a fight on the card as well. So if he happens to win, then I'll be having a rematch with him for my belt, which will be amazing for my career. And I really I hope he wins so we can fight because I know I'm going to do my part and I'm going to win. So Alex Morgan just has to go out and do his part and he has to win so we can go fight again.
For those who don't know, you were supposed to be part of Jeremy Kennedy's training camp, and unfortunately Jeremy got injured. But how cool is that he reached out to you and wanted you to be part of his camp? Up and coming guy in the UFC.
It was pretty sweet, honestly. I seen he followed me on Instagram, and then I seen who he was fighting, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna ask me to help him train or help him out with this camp or something like that. And then a few days later, sure enough, I got a message from him saying that, yeah, I'd like to bring you out, all that. So that was a really humbling experience, to see to have someone like that message me and ask for my help, especially at like his stage of his career versus my stage of my career. You know what I mean? So I know I'm doing something right if I got someone at that level noticing my talents and stuff. So it would have been really great if it would have went through. Unfortunately, it didn't, but I know he'll keep me in mind for the future. So
yeah, I was going to
it's
say,
great.
hopefully you guys get to train in the future when Jeremy's healthy again. That would be cool because like he was going to do like a super camp in Vegas and just get a bunch of people out there, which I think was a really good idea. So
Yeah, it would have been great for my fight and his fight, honestly, especially because he fights a lot of shorter guys, I fight a lot of taller guys, so it works out both really well for us, you know.
you watching any TV right now? Any Netflix, anything like that?
Honestly, I've just been going through a lot of different movies and stuff, nothing crazy. I went and seen Daddy's Home 2 last night in
Any
the
good?
theaters. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. It was a little cheesy, but it's a Christmas movie. I'm not a fan of Christmas movies, so.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
But it
enough.
was funny.
It's TKO 41. It's coming up here live on UFC Fight Pass on December 9th. TJ, it's always good catching up with you. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any thank yous or shout outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can follow my athlete page on Facebook, which is just TJ Laramie. You could also follow me at on Instagram at TJ Laramie or on Twitter at Laramie TJ. And also, please be sure to check out my website, tjlaramie.com. And there's a little bio on me, some pictures and all that. And then, I'd like to thank some of my sponsors too, Wincrete, IBEW, Liuna, Crimeware, Takedown Distribution, and yeah, that's it. I think I'm set there.